think I'm staying here. That's pretty sick. Anyway, got about an hour before last chance qualifiers start, so let's get in, drop our bags off hopefully, and then go from there. It's not actually there, it's there, but still, it's next door. We'll have an explore later. So as we come in, fairly stock standard, we've got a TV on the wall. There you have it. We've got a little bit of a balcony thing happening over here. We've got some nice sheer curtains. I'm sure Joe would appreciate the sheer curtains. And we're right next to this chapel or cathedral, and looking out that way to the Melbourne city line. First LCQ. There we go. Right, brain food before we qualify, hopefully. This is a pretty cool place, the glass stand. It's just next to the town hall. So there we have it, and let's tuck in. Alright, so we just did it. We won our second LCQ. So 0-1, then 4-0, and that means we're playing tomorrow. And we'll see how we go. I just bought some cards, Steel Seraph and Lauren, because I think that will improve my deck, but they weren't available earlier in the day, so see how we go. And that's that. Managed to get the LCQ invitation, grinded my way to a win in the second one that I entered. The first one I just 0-1 dropped. It is single elimination after all, but then went over. I had the day pass. Evidently I didn't need the day pass, but you know, those are the trade-offs you make, I guess. I don't know whether, well, I wouldn't have had much time left to do many more events anyway, so in hindsight, the day pass is good if you lose a whole bunch early or playing like quicker decks, but White Midrange takes its time to win the game, and then eventually just grinds them out with too much value. So it started, the loss in the first LCQ was a tight game against Azorius Soldiers. I temporarily locked down, but then they had Destroy Evil, so then they got all their dudes and attacked and pumped with Fortified Beachhead, and that was the game. In the successful qualifier, I guess you could say, I just ran back the same deck, exactly the same, and got paired up against Grixis in game one, and that's the whole reason why I'm playing Mono White Midrange, because it just seems very difficult from the Grixis side, unless you like chain early Invoke Despairs. That didn't happen. He did end up playing 3 Invoke Despairs that game, but we literally took 45 minutes for the first game, and then with him realizing that he was pretty unlikely to get the victory, he packed it up and gave me the win, so then he could go into another qualifier. So that was that. Then round 2, I played against this strange, apparently he was playing Atraxa. I didn't see Atraxa, but it was like a Azorius control deck, more or less, and I tended to, I just ground that out. Wedding Announcement was quite key in those games, and ended up killing him by Destroyed Evil, his Restoration of Arganju creature. It crewed Bankbuster, and then Bankbuster I flickered with the Eternal Wanderer, and attacked in and got him dead. So that was that. Then I played the matchup that I was kind of dreading, which was the Azorius Soldiers. I ended up keeping in game 1 a 1-lander, and I was proud of myself for managing to do that, because I literally, like the last time I played in a qualifier, I kept a 1-lander in game 3 admittedly and got crushed. But this one, I had a 1-lander. It was a Plains with Laydown Arms, Ossification, Ambitious Farmhand. I was on the draw. There were all these things that could potentially work out for me. Ended up that that hand worked out pretty well, and I kind of crushed him in game 1. Then game 2, he managed to protect the Negotiators a fair well, which would have stabilised the board. and once he had done that, then that game was over. And then game 3, I drew 2 temporary lockdowns early on. He didn't draw any removal for them, and that cleaned it all up, and then I could go over the top of him. In the other semi, there was a Grixis mirror happening. They took like an hour longer than I had taken in the previous match, so they grounded out, as Grixis mirrors tend to do, and then it ended up that I played this guy Shane, and he was borrowing someone's deck, as was the other guy actually. They're borrowing like Isaac Egan's and someone else's deck anyway. So managed to get the win game 1. Game 1 I feel like I played really well. I kept a 2-lander, but it had some things happening a little bit later. It had an early bank. No, that was game 2. I kept just a hand that kind of just played stuff out slowly. It ended up getting to 6 mana. I played Sanctuary Warden. He had some issues dealing with that. Then I played Eternal Wanderer. He ended up Blue Sun's Zenithing my Blue Sun's Twilight rather, my Sanctuary Wanderer, but couldn't do any more than 2 damage to the Eternal Wanderer, and then I cleared the board basically and stabilized on 8, and then managed to get the victory from there. Game 2, he drew a lot of lands, but my hand was really, really good. Like it was turn 2 Bankbuster that allowed to draw cards, and I played a farm hand and got more cards and more cards and more cards. Eventually I went Wedding Announcement because I thought he had a counterspell. Turns out he just had nothing. And then in the following turn I went Sanctuary Warden. I had another Sanctuary Warden in hand, and he was like, yeah, I've seen enough here. That will do me. And so we take it out 4-0 today in the second LCQ. Obviously 4-1 in total today. But the important thing, we qualified, which is awesome. So we play tomorrow. I've made some slight adjustments. I'm going to take out Restoration of Iganjo. I didn't even get to play it at all, but I managed to find some Steel Seraphs and Alorans, so I'll make some slight adjustments, then put the deck list in, and we'll see how we go tomorrow, and I'll update you with all that. So from Melbourne, in a random castle, but not actually in the castle, in a little skyscraper thingy, I will see you next time. Future Clark just realising that previous Clark didn't actually tell you the best play that I made in the final. So I was on 6, and he had Kiki Jiki flipped, Fable Kiki Jiki flipped, and not summoning Sick, a Corpse Praiser, a Blood Tithe Harvester, and a Wandering Mind, and I attacked with Owl and Sanctuary Warden, and then I Legend ruled Owl to find a Wandering Emperor, because he had already tapped his Kiki Jiki and exiled it right then and there. So that was, I think, pretty clever play, and something that I was a bit chuffed about. There's my day band, but we don't need it. Going to visit the castle / find food. The stockade you never heard about. We've heard about the Eureka stockade. Apparently there was one here, and a gold rush too. So classic. By the way, this shopping complex is quite nice, and there's some cinemas over there. But we're catching up with Will later, so just here to find a snack, and I got distracted. There's Will, and we're at Ivanhoe Steakhouse. Can I tell you, that man knows how to pick a steakhouse and also how to spend money. Jeez, good stuff, Will. Bit of a pre-event walk. Turns out the LCQ payment that I did, once you qualified, it automatically slots you in, so no extra $100, which is nice. Evidently it's autumn here. I guess, what are we? March. Is that a thing? Yeah, must be. So I don't know where I was going with this. It was just pretty. This is the moment. Right, standard main event, let's do it. The hall's starting to fill. Interested to see how many players. There were 120 registered last night, so yeah. It's Riley night.
South Queensland being a very close second. My friends, my name's Ryan. If you don't know me, you might recognise me from standing on stage and speaking to you right now. It's great to be here in my home city once again. It's so good to see many familiar faces and a bunch of new players as well that I haven't seen around the traps. It's so good to see Australian and New Zealand magic back on the agenda. And I'm hoping to see some of you in Minneapolis, Barcelona, and maybe even Las Vegas later in the year, so I get stuck in with Wizards coverage of these big events there.
Fallen into the 1-2 bracket, so it's not looking good from here. Oh well. Lost to Grixis twice today, actually. The first game was against Anthony Lee, who actually won the tournament last time, but I feel like I am favoured in that matchup. I've mentioned it a few times already, but just hasn't gone my way. The last game I played, game 1, he turn 1 duressed me as a one-off, took my bankbuster, and I feel like kind of swung from that moment, so yeah, my name will not be in this one. Oh, there we are, 68th, not up the top, next time. And that is a wrap from standard main event.